Okay, how would you make bigger enemies?
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the morning show. I haven't been able to sleep for a week. It's a huge day over at the morning show. We're getting into a whole new chapter. We're going to get into that in just a couple seconds. But before we do that, head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis for all exclusive content and all the back catalogs of every other podcast. No one else on YouTube produces as much content as Pantelis. Speaking of which, you can also check out his website at panteliscomedy.com. Behind the console, he's still here, unfortunately. Poseidon.
My plan has worked.
At Poseidon69. And he's got a website, IamPoseidon.com, so you can check that out. As for my stuff, you can check out at the Backstage podcast. And an exclusively French podcast called Politiquement Parlant, which is starting next week after a short little summer break. For those of you who missed last episode, Phil announced that he was moving on to other things, which we're also going to talk about because we're super excited about that. But it is the morning show, so we got to be excited about this morning show. We got a new host. Basically, yes. That was the whole thing. I'm not so sure. I'm still trembling a little bit. It's been a week when they told me who the host was going to be. He is a legend, a living legend in the Montreal broadcasting industry. What's up, Simon? You're interrupting the intro.
No, keep going. But
so a legend in the Montreal broadcasting industry. You can catch him still live on air on the radio every single day. You can also catch his very own hit podcast right here in the Pantelis Nation. Standing by with the Terry and Ted podcast. It is none other, the man, the myth, the legend, Ted Bird, everyone. Woo!
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Nice to be here. For the purposes of this podcast, I think I should be Theodoros Pouli.
Pouli.
What do you think? Yeah. I want to have some Greek street cred.
We'll do that, even though Pouli is slang for dick.
Oh, is it? I just put in bird on Google Translate.
It is,
and that's what I got in Greek.
It's not your fault. It's the actual word. It's just the stupid Greeks that took that.
That's
and
funny.
They used it for.
Also, I want to set the record straight here. It's very flattering that you say living legend and all the rest of it, but I like to point this out to people because it helps keep me humble. On the celebrity food chain, local radio personality is just above rodeo clown and not. Just below team mascot. More people know who Youpie is than know who I am.
Well, Youpie
so
is
that
a bit
puts
fitter.
It in perspective.
Yeah, no, it's not true. I mean, you're among the gods in the radio industry, and we're so glad to have you here. I remember, I can't remember how long it's been since you started the podcast over here, but when Pantelis told me that. I think it was during a morning show. He came in and said, "Oh yeah, we got big news coming, man. It's so exciting. We went and got Terry and Ted." I'm like, "What do you mean Terry and Ted?
Who are they?"
He goes, No. I knew who they were, but I just couldn't believe. I'm like, is there any other combo? Like, there's another Terry and Ted combo out there? I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, Terry and Ted. I'm like, I know who Terry and Ted is, but those are the. He goes, yeah. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's amazing.
Well, we've had a lot of fun with the podcast because in Terry's case. Ever since he got the bum's rush from Shom, he hasn't had a regular outlet,
Yeah. and
this gives him that. And for me, even though I'm still on the radio on a daily basis, Monday to Friday on Light 106.7 in Hudson, 106.7 FM online at light1067.ca on the iHeartRadio app and on your smart speaker. I can't say cocksucker there.
Damn.
Yeah.
How good does that feel to be able to say it?
I can't say, there's that cocksucker Elton John on Light 106.7.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, it's obviously it's no surprise podcasting has taken off, and we met up yesterday and we kind of went over this. It's amazing to me how all these radio and TV personalities in the last chapter of their careers, if you want, are leaving those traditional media and they're doing their own thing. I would assume probably because they feel this sort of like they're liberated kind of thing. Like I can do what I want and I can take my own angle at certain things. And we spoke about a lot of other people that were on the radio and even TV that are doing it now and that are doing pretty well for themselves. So no doubt that podcasting, well, I mean, it's already taken a leap, but it's going to continue, I think, in that direction.
I think so as well. It's the wave of the future for sure. Legacy media in general is under siege.
Yeah.
Who watches television anymore? Nobody. Everybody's on streaming services. Yeah. The only things I watch on TV now are sports and the news.
Yeah.
And
but even the news, Ted, I mean, I come from that world, right? And very rarely will I tune into the news. I mean, it's weird because it's always on, but I'm not watching. So everything
because you can get it right here anytime that you want to get it.
Exactly.
And you get more perspectives here.
Oh yeah,
than you will get on television.
In a couple of clicks of your fingers, you can have access to several journalists. You can get multiple sides to any story. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. In any case,
I like that. I like that, and COVID is a pretty good example of if you want to look at the media, the news media landscape in particular. Throughout COVID, you had on one side legacy media, traditional mainstream media, newspapers, television networks, who by and large were trumpeting the government and establishment line. Mm-hmm. And then you had, on the other end of the spectrum, independent media, which was questioning all of that, and in some instances was awash in conspiracy theories. But it gives an opportunity to get a different perspective. And I find the best way to tackle something like COVID, which is a polarizing and controversial topic, and apparently is coming back, by the way. I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat and a runny nose. I hope it's not COVID, and if it is, I hope I don't give it to you guys.
I apologizes in advance.
I was going to wear the dog mask that I wore at the Pride Parade a couple of weeks ago, but I left it at home. But what I'm saying is, I like to be able to get multiple perspectives and then make up my own mind.
Yeah, I think we're in a funny little period where you have these two kind of dynamics at the same time, and they're both sort of trying to maybe not attack, but kind of sideline the other. You know?
Yeah.
So, like you said, I mean, you had mainstream media that was trying to pump those that rhetoric, and anyone else who had any opposing message were evil, and they were the
they got shouted down. Yeah. You got shamed and then canceled.
And then you have the big boys like Rogan and all those guys who were made to be monsters, right?
Well, to me, that is mainstream media now. When you look at the numbers that Joe Rogan racks up and that Tucker Carlson is racking up on Twitter, or X as it's now known, since he moved over there, since he got the boot from Fox, those numbers absolutely dwarf anything that cable news networks get. I mean, they dwarf them. Yeah. Who did Tucker Carlson have on? He had on Vivek Ramaswamy. Is that his name?
Yeah, the Republican
one of the Republican candidates. Yeah, very bright guy. He's not going to win, but he's a very bright guy, and he might make a good running mate for somebody, whether it's DeSantis or Trump. But he got, in the first hour, he got 7 million views. And the last time I looked at it, he was up over 25 million views. And I'm sure it's way beyond that by now.
See, this is interesting. I mean, we're living, we're seeing this unfold live before our eyes. This change, I think, in this, in this industry, when in the last maybe 10 years did we have presidential hopefuls give interviews on podcasts? It never happened, right?
Yeah.
And you saw Robert Kennedy Jr. now. He's doing all of them. And he's getting so much more visibility than perhaps the media want to give him. We don't know what the story is because he's considered as a controversial figure. But there's no doubt in my mind that perhaps this and maybe the next presidential campaigns are probably going to be the last that are going to have such an impact on traditional media, on TV and that sort of thing. I think it's going to transition on more social media and podcast formats.
Look at what's happening tonight. I think it's tonight, right?
Tonight
the
is
first
the first
Republican
debate, yes.
and Trump's not going to be there. He
doesn't care.
Because he has already recorded an interview with Tucker Carlson that I believe is going to be streamed on X/Twitter at the same time as the debate.
What a prick.
What would you watch?
For sure you're going to watch Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, the Tucker Carlson interview you were talking about, Ted, is up at 43.7 million views.
The one with
with
Vivek
Vivek?
Ramaswamy?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
It passed 25.
Yeah, he had a guy on
God
yesterday, a guy named Douglas McGregor, who's a former U.S. Army officer, decorated veteran of the first Gulf War, was a military advisor in the Trump administration. Really smart guy, like great wealth of experience and great political and military savvy. A controversial figure. A lot of people say, he's a Kremlin stooge. He's carrying water for Putin, whatever. Listen to the guy. He's smart. He's really, really smart. Not well known, though. He's not an instantly recognizable figure. And within a matter of hours, he had 7 million views. And I think Tucker Carlson's average audience when he was doing Fox at 8 o'clock on weekday evenings was 2.5 to 3.5 million.
He's destroying them.
Yeah.
Oh, he's destroying them. To me, that's what's impressive. To watch this, I guess I don't know if we can call it history kind of thing, but it is.
It is history. It's the evolution of media.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this unfold before our eyes, and it's incredible. It's incredible.
And as usual, you have the old fighting, trying to fight the battle of the new.
No, I know, but they're always too late. I mean, how much of a warning do you need in order to start kind of adapting, right? What are they waiting for? So we're seeing this in Canada now, where everyone is boycotting Facebook as if it's Facebook's fault that your media isn't making money. So you have to blame the corporation for doing what it's meant to do, right? Profits for its shareholders.
Yeah. Well, I think that bill, a lot of that law has to do with the government trying to get out of the business of subsidizing media. They were just trying to hand that off to social media because the Trudeau government has been writing big fat checks to media companies, newspaper companies in particular, and they don't want to write those checks
it's a war
anymore.
apparently that they don't seem to want to let go of or to even look for a solution. It's just Facebook's fault. And I sent you a little news clip there with the forest fires happening in the Northwest Territories. I mean, Justin Trudeau, instead of coming out and demonstrating some sort of leadership, your country's on fire. People are losing everything.
Yeah.
He takes advantage of that to blame Facebook for blocking news for the people not to know what's happening in their own city or in their
accusing
own,
Facebook of endangering lives.
Yeah.
By blocking the news. But I mean, before Facebook, there were still forest fires and people were getting the news, people were getting the alerts.
Yeah.
You adjust to circumstances.
Yeah. It's just hypocritical. It's that this is happening because of the bill you passed. So how is it Facebook's fault,
Well, the good news is there's still lots of free porn on the internet. That's what I hear anyway. I wouldn't know myself. I just play Wordle.
That's funny. Guys, in the chat room, thank you for being here. We love you. We appreciate you. If you have anything that you want us to mention or if there's any comments, shoot us a little comment in the chat. We have Ted Bird here. He's going to be with us from now on, and I'm sure it's exciting for you as it is for us. Let's get to the news, Ted.
What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about COVID? Do you think it's coming back? Do you think mask mandates are coming back? Do you think lockdowns are coming back? They've already, on a very small scale, a college in Atlanta and Lionsgate movie studios in Hollywood have both imposed mask mandates for students and staff in the case of the educational institution and for employees in the case of Lionsgate. And I've seen a lot of talk on social media, I'm not going to comply and they're not going to get me this time and I'm not going to be fooled twice. And listen, I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to be locked down. But what am I going to do if my employer has a mask mandate? What am I going to do? Am I going to say no and lose my job? If I want to go to IGA and buy my groceries or Costco and they have a mask mandate, what am I going to do?
Look, the mask is the least of my worries. I mean, worst case scenario, like you said, what are you going to do? Put on a fucking mask, shut your mouth, do whatever. I'm afraid if they start imposing vaccines again.
Yeah. That's a much bigger issue.
Especially looking back now, we have so much more information. It was such a, it was one big fucking stupidity, right? And the other thing that I find weird, because you sent me the thing and I read also a little bit about it, and I also read up on the Lionsgate studio. It's strange to me that they are taking these liberties on their own without necessarily any government policy on this, right? I mean, before everyone took this decision, everyone made the decision because the government said so.
The CDC said something, or
you had the health,
who was it here, Dr. Tam, in
whatever
Canada?
it was, right? So they had imposed these things. The government kind of went along with it, and they laid their the directives. And everyone kind of went along with it. So everyone adapted based on what the government told them to do. And this time around, I find it strange that it's like, you know what? We're hearing about these things. Let's just take these precautions before anything happens. Isn't that strange?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like, what are you, an expert? Fuck. And not that the government was an expert, but at least 3 years ago, they seem to have been following some sort of expert advice, right? I mean, we know today that it was all bullshit. But I just find it weird that they're like, oh, shit, a couple cases, they're on the rise. Masks on the studio, mandatory for everyone. Imagine working at that studio. What the hell do you do?
I see more people out and around now wearing masks. I've noticed in the last couple of weeks an uptick. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not as prevalent as it was at the height of COVID, between 2020 and 22, let's say. But I see more people than I did a few weeks ago wearing masks. And you know what? If that makes you feel secure, God love you. But I like to be able to make my own choice on things like that and on vaccines. I got the shot. I don't even remember if I got 2 or 3.
I got 2 because that was the mandatory thing, just for my business, because we have a lot of clients who, fortunately for us, were able to stay open. So we didn't really feel that much of we didn't take that much of a hit economically. So we're very fortunate. I'm very thankful for that. But because they were able to stay open, we had no choice. I mean, we had to follow their rules. We got vaccine. I got 2 shots.
Did you ever get COVID?
Yes, I did.
You did, eh? Poseidon?
Yeah, I did.
Is that right? I was lucky. I never got it.
Eh?
No, I got.
Pantelis also says he hasn't gotten it, but who knows? Maybe
I got really sick I think it was last fall. I got really sick, and I took a COVID test, and it was negative. So I guess it was just a bad cold or whatever.
But it wasn't that bad. I mean, mine lasted the real tough period was about 24 hours.
And so what was it, like a really bad flu kind of thing?
Yeah, it was chills.
Not a gastro flu.
No. It was just chills. Yeah. I think I had a headache.
First thing I noticed was I was very lightheaded and my I became very weak. I couldn't do basic
that's it.
Like basic thing. Like I was
How much could you bench?
No. And
Should do that. Get a bunch of COVID guys and the guys with COVID in the gym. See how much they can bench.
Let's see how strong you really are.
See if you can do 40.
I was trying to break into a door with a crowbar.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What's wrong?" Like, I
Wait,
feel like
hold on a second.
Christ, I can't even be a successful burglar when I have COVID.
Let's rewind for a second, dude. You have COVID and you're trying to break into a house.
Right into it. Yeah, bit right into his break and enter
It was a
career.
favor for a friend who was the landlord.
It was a favor for a friend.
Yeah, he needed me to
He
fence
needed some help to clear out a house.
and usually
I couldn't even fucking murder a guy. I couldn't get the crowbar up high enough to hit him with it.
Oh my god.
And I had a hard time. Like, fuck, what the fuck's wrong with me? Even when I left the house, I was like, fuck, I'm feeling weird. And then I got tested after. I got tested that morning actually because I felt weird. And then I waited. What is it? 15 minutes around there, and I waited, and nothing showed up. So I'm like, oh, I'm good. I guess I'm feeling under.
Oh,
the
you mean
weather.
on the test?
Yeah,
you gotta wait a bit. Yeah.
No, not my university test. And then I was like, I was feeling weird the whole time and everything, and I was like, fuck. And then I came back, and then the second line had appeared. I was like, oh shit, I do have it. I went out and about. I didn't even, you know what I mean?
Responsible.
And then, right, that part was the issue. Not me,
All over
not me doing the other activities.
Oh, dropped. I love fucking coughing at everyone.
No, this was in Quebec City. And then what happened? I felt really weak. And then I got, like, towards the night, intense shivers. I think I shivered for about a few hours. And then I got fed up shivering, and then I started yelling at myself in the mirror, saying like, "Fuck you, cold." And then
He's got
my fucking body.
Yeah, he's bullying the cold out of him.
and then it went away.
You know what's incredible for me, Ted? We saw everything that unfolded during COVID. I mean, in the beginning, I think there was this beautiful wave of solidarity. I don't know if you remember the first couple of months. Everybody was trying to help each other out, and everybody was kind of supportive.
What was it, 2 weeks to flatten the curve?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks, and then everybody showed a little bit more patience. Okay, let's go a couple more months, not the end of the world. I remember going around, I have an old aunt, I would bring her groceries and something, like, just stay home, don't worry. Like, there was this thing that happened, right? And then fucking all hell broke loose. You had people just meeting in restaurants, fucking, I don't know what, conspiring. You had the gym owner. Remember the story with the gym owner? He's like, fuck this shit. I'm not going to go broke. He opened his gyms and got fined. There was all these things, right? And
cops arresting kids playing hockey at an outdoor rink.
No, but there are all these clips of cops just breaking into houses and breaking up parties and fucking arresting people. Yeah. What I'm concerned about is following everything that we just lived and knowing that most of it was just stupidity. How can the government have the balls this time around to say, oh, it's a lockdown, mandatory vaccines? Maybe it could happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive to think that it won't, but it seems to me that any government would be stupid to come back out again this time and repeat what happened 3 or 2 years ago.
Well, here's an interesting conspiracy theory for you, and I'm not saying I believe it, but I've read it on social media. Some people think that bringing back mandates and lockdowns at this time, pre-U.S. election, makes it easier if you want to rig an election.
It's not
dumb. Because it sets the stage for mail-in ballots.
Right.
Because if you close down the polls, you have to have mail-in ballots, and my understanding is that would make it easier to
just control
to fudge the results, to control. And again, I'm not saying I believe that, but I saw that.
It's what's circulating.
Pointed out.
I still think that the risks of fucking society going into chaos is so much bigger than any potential you have of rigging an election or controlling the outcome of it. And especially with the population the size of the U.S. I mean, Canada, okay, I mean, we're a lot, 30 million. I mean, I think it happened. But the U.S., I mean, look how divided people got during that period. It's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible.
I'm a big believer in what a lot of people were saying in the beginning last time around. And I think there were 3 quite prominent doctors in the U.S., Stanford, Harvard guys, who put out a thing called I think it was the Great Barrington Declaration or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
They said, protect the elderly. Mm-hmm. Focus on the elderly or the most the people
Vulnerable.
the most
Yeah.
vulnerable, and let it run its course with everybody else and get to a place of herd immunity. And that made a lot of sense to me, as opposed to just causing chaos across the board. But those guys were eminent scientists, but they were dismissed by the powers that be, Fauci and who's the other guy, Collins. They were dismissed as fringe. Fucking Stanford and Harvard, educated, but they're fringe. Yeah.
And the governments in the world that actually took that approach.
Sweden. Do you know what happened with Sweden? I never read or heard about the final
I don't know
results
but
with Sweden. But Sweden did take that approach.
It did. I think Brazil also took that course. There were a few. I'm not so sure. Maybe we can check it out, but it wouldn't surprise me if the numbers aren't extraordinary compared to what we had here in Canada.
But then again, Sweden, it barely affected them. It affected them less than countries that took severe measures. But then again, Brazil, it just ravaged the favelas.
Yeah.
Completely killed all kinds of people in the favelas.
Yeah, but at the end, when we're looking at the death, the numbers, is it that much more than what we had? Well, obviously, there's difference in population, so we have to look at that carefully there. But yeah, I think in the end, that approach. But again, you can't blame the politicians because nobody knew what the hell was going on. So when you have one expert coming on and saying, "Look, lockdown, make sure everyone is protected," okay. What if that was the right approach and they hadn't done it, right?
Yeah,
because they're thinking politically. It's kind of like a damned if you do, damned
better
if you
safe
don't.
than sorry. You're saying, yeah. But you've also pointed out now they know better.
Yeah,
now they know what worked and what
so
didn't
it would be
work.
ridiculous for them to repeat that.
Yeah, let's see if they make adjustments and changes this time around. Maybe they can distribute the new COVID inhaler.
There's a groundbreaking scientific kind of breakthrough. It's from Quebec. It's a company based out of Sherbrooke. I think it's called iBio 123, and they came up with an inhaler, like a pump kind of thing that heals COVID.
It's filled with ivermectin.
I don't know. They, in the article that I read, they just say, it has the antibodies necessary to treat it. So the symptoms leave within a week. But the pulmonary and the breathing difficulties that you get, or some people get, leave within 24 hours. So it's very efficient. It goes right into your lungs. And they've passed the clinical trials, and they're at the last stage of actually getting it done. I don't know. Would that be an option? I mean, rather than going into a hospital or getting
well, if it works, sure, yeah.
But then again, what's in it?
I don't know.
Exactly.
And I'd also like to follow the money on that too. Yeah. I wonder if Pfizer hears about that and they go, "Oh, no, man, that's our gig. Yeah, you're moving in on our turf."
Yeah, no, that's actually very dangerous. You can't do that. You gotta take the jab. I would totally go with this rather than injecting anything.
Yeah. So is it a treatment is it a preventive treatment, or is it for something? Is it a treatment for if you have COVID?
It's a treatment because you take it once you get COVID. So it's from what I'm reading, it's a pump,
Also, I feel like people are fed up with this shit. Like you were talking about mask mandates coming up. I've been seeing like a lot of videos on TikTok of the politicians talking about it, and blah blah blah. It's dangerous again. 99% of the comments are, nah, fuck this. A lot of people who abided even the first time, they even wrote, they're like, you know what, the first time around, I trusted you guys, but then there was so much fuckery that, nah, I'm done. I'm done with this.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I said before, I understand that feeling, but what am I going to do if there's a mask mandate at work? What am I going to do? Am I going to quit my job? I can't. I need my job.
But here's the thing, though, right now. So I understand that point of view, but now even with everything open, there's such a issue with quality employees, and not just quality, but quantity of employees, right? So businesses don't have people to hire. So I think the last move companies are going to want to do is fire people again when they don't have.
There's a shortage. There's a shortage everywhere.
A shortage. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So I don't think because what are you gonna do now? You're up and running again. Maybe you hired a few good
That's
employees.
the other mysterious
You're
thing,
still
Ted.
short
Yeah,
staff.
Yeah, that's the other mysterious thing. I mean, I don't know what happened to the workforce. We all know that during COVID time, everyone was staying home getting Chudo's checks. But
Not me. I went to work.
I was working also. But there's a shitload of people that took advantage of that. And good for them, whatever. There was money from the government. Number one, they have to fucking pay taxes on that. So I don't know what's happening with that. But number two, now that COVID is over, where are all these people? How come the workforce hasn't come back, hasn't bounced back to the normal situation that it was before COVID? How is it that, teachers decided to retire, said, fuck it. I mean, they're in Quebec, there's 5,000, there's a shortage of 5,000 teachers. The minister came out the other day and said, we're going to have an issue. I mean, at this point, we just want mature adults in the room, at least so that they could, maintain some sort of calm in the classrooms. Can you imagine sending your kid to school and you don't have a qualified teacher? What the fuck is going on here?
And who are they going to get? Are they going to get Stinky, who's out here at the corner?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I want a job. Yeah, fuck, I'll go babysit some kids.
Stinky, you're doing grade 5 history today. Away you go.
So, and it's not the only industry. I mean, everywhere. I have family members that have restaurants. They're struggling to find personnel. Where is everyone?
I don't know. Do you think people got fat and lazy because the government was
but what are they
out money?
doing? What are they doing? There's no more checks being
I
delivered.
know. I know. It's a good question, and I don't.
They
know
got
the
used
answer
to getting
it.
that money, so they're all on welfare now. I mean, I don't know.
Nor do I.
I can understand the people that are, in their 60s or 50s. They're like, you know what, fuck this shit, man. Maybe it's time to retire. They took an early I don't know, maybe. But the younger people, where the hell are they?
Are the shortages in primarily minimum
everywhere.
wage jobs? I mean, you mentioned teachers.
Yeah.
Those are obviously qualified, educated university graduates. That's crazy that there's a shortage of teachers. That doesn't
5,000.
well. That's
Across Quebec.
Yeah.
It's disastrous.
Yeah. You don't want kids coming out of school not knowing what the fucking capital of Canada is. Or
But
their times tables, their gazintas. 2 gazinta 4 twice, 3 gazinta 9 thrice.
No, but see, I know a lot of teachers, and it was tough. Those 3 years was so difficult. Having a classroom on a computer screen, even for the kids, it was tough. I mean, my daughter was only in kindergarten, I think, or grade 1. I don't even remember when it happened. And it was tough for her. Imagine like more advanced levels, like grade 4, 5, 6, maybe even high school. You can't fucking run a classroom like that. Jesus Christ. So it was painful for a lot of teachers that they decide to change field. But again, how come we have such a huge shortage in personnel everywhere? To me, I don't know what happened. To me, it's mysterious.
Do you know if that's an exclusively Quebec issue, the teachers, or if it's
I haven't heard that in any other province. If there's a shortage, it's probably not as significant as it is in Quebec. But 5,000 teachers, it's horrible. The health sector as well has a huge shortages as well. We're trying to figure shit out there as well.
I'll give surgery a whirl. How hard can it be?
Yeah, let's go. Poseidon.
I'll get that gallbladder out for you.
The brain surgery scheduled for 1 p.m. Let's go. Suit up.
I walk in with a crowbar.
Crowbar and a butter knife. There's Phil. Sorry about taking your job, Phil.
I'm okay with it.
You didn't announce yet what you're doing, right? We're not gonna. Okay.
Everybody knows.
Okay.
I think everybody knows.
All right.
It's better that way.
You just made it so awkward.
What?
I don't know. I don't know. You made it really awkward.
That's why I quit.
For those wondering, we're gonna draw a little tangent over here, just because it's exciting what's happening. This new chapter, obviously, for the morning show, but it's not only exciting because we have Ted, but it's also exciting because Pantelis is doing great stuff. He's just adding much more and more content under his channel, and Phil is going to be doing something that he's been talking about, I think, for over a year now. And every time he mentions it to me, I get fucking excited, and he's never been able to do it. I'm like, come on, man, do it. So he's gonna have an interesting podcast. I don't want to say more. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but trust me, it's going to be exciting loving what he's preparing, and he's gonna have his buddy. There's gonna be another host there, super competent people in whatever they're gonna be doing, and I'm thrilled for all of you to follow that as well. It's gonna be really cool.
That's all you can tell us?
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe, but I don't want to break it. I mean, I can completely screw them over and say exactly what it's going to be, but.
But it's in his area of expertise and what he's passionate about.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, and I'm trying without spilling the beans to use that as a segue into asking you guys about movies and whether you've seen Barbie and or Oppenheimer.
Yeah, what a craze! No, I haven't seen any of the two. I've been wanting to see Oppenheimer, but I haven't gotten the chance to. Not so sure I'm gonna go see Barbie. We discussed with my wife to bring my daughters. I have 2 daughters, and then we looked into it, and they're like, it's not really for kids. So we're like, fuck it, we're not gonna do it. But I think that everyone made this more than what it's just a fucking movie, man.
Yeah.
And Trudeau taking pictures with his kids and blowing up the internet. Like, who gives a shit? Have you seen any of them?
I saw Oppenheimer.
Yeah. And apparently it's amazing.
It was really good. Well, Christopher Nolan's such a terrific filmmaker, but holy fuck, it was long.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah, it was about 3 hours long.
Wow.
And I checked my watch a few times in the theater, and to me, that's a sign. When you're checking your watch, it was still good. And if you're going for the big atomic bomb explosion, that's only, 30 seconds of the movie, and it's about 2.5 hours in. So you get a long wait. It's not an action film.
Yeah, so it's the whole build up to that.
Yeah.
basically.
And I would also say, if you want to go see Oppenheimer, I would read up on him before going to see the movie. I think you'll enjoy it more if you know something about him going in. Otherwise, you might be just sitting there going, what the fucking fuck? I don't understand. What is this all about?
Yeah.
Like, have some context. Understand the context going in, I would say. I'd like to go see Barbie just for the sake of going to see it, just to see what all the...
Apparently it's a fun movie.
Also,
I watched it.
Also, my third wife, Margot Robbie, stars in it.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no.
She got fit for this. Huh?
She got fit.
Well, she
Was
was
she not already?
No, she was always fit, but she was a bit thicker in this. I thought.
Oh, really? Eh? In a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way. Yes.
Yeah.
Like the thighs
Yeah,
and everything. I was
that's a nice-looking woman. That is a beautiful.
So you saw
beautiful
Barbie?
woman.
yeah, I saw Barbie.
Your girlfriend forced you?
No. We had said she wanted to go see Barbie. I want to watch Oppenheimer, but now is it Oppenheimer or Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer. It's
Oppenheimer. There's 2
I keep saying
P's. Yeah.
Oppenheimer. But now I'm thinking because of the length. Because I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna wait until it's on like streaming or for rent.
Yeah.
So you can be in the comfort of your home.
Well, every hour I could go and smoke a cigarette. You know.
Or a joint.
Yeah. Well, I don't smoke weed, but yeah.
How was
if that's what
Barbie? Was it good? Did you like it?
It was fun, but it was some moments where I cringed a bit. I was like,
Is that right?
yeah, I was like, this is weird.
Not for kids?
Like under 10. Like my daughter's 8 and 5. Like, so if I understood it correctly, the
No,
premise
it could be
is
for kids. It could be
the
for
premise
kids.
is that they come to life and there's a contrast between Barbie world and the real world.
Yeah.
And, they don't understand because in their world it's so
In her world,
woman centric, and in the real
Yeah.
world it's really not like that.
In her
And,
world, it's Yas Queen and everything,
Yeah.
and then when she gets to the real world, no one's like Yas
that's a
Queen.
cool concept. It's a fun idea. Like they come to
Everyone-
life and
Yeah,
okay.
put a twist on it. Why
Yeah,
not?
everyone
Yeah.
in the real world is shut up, bitch, and get in this box.
And woke Snow White is coming, eh?
Apparently, they're thinking of canceling it.
Really?
Yep, because the actress got so much backlash.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember her name. Is it Zegler?
Let's see.
Yeah, she did some interviews where she was talking about how they're kind of painting a new coat on Snow White, and she doesn't have to fall in love. There doesn't have to be.
Oh, God,
there doesn't have to be a prince who comes and rescues her.
But why?
And then,
Why do you
and then
have
she
to-
said the prince
Yeah.
is basically a stalker.
So Rachel Zegler. What
Yeah,
did she
there
say?
you go.
The princess is a
The
stalker.
prince is a stalker.
really?
Yeah, in the original, the prince is a stalker.
Man, come on.
Yeah.
Why do you have to touch these things? Just leave them. Okay, they're exciting movies for kids.
Well, they're
Let them be.
classics.
Yeah,
Snow White from 1937 is a classic. My daughter, my eldest, is 33 years old, and I would classify her as woke. She's a PhD candidate in art history. She spent a lot of time in academia. Her and I do not see eye to eye politically. I'm a get a haircut, get a real job conservative, and she's quite woke. And
Well, it's academia, right? It's,
yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. But when she was a little girl, there was nothing she loved more than Snow White, and no movie she wanted to see more than Snow White. And when it came around in the theaters, the original, 1937, she was about 5 or 6 years old, and I took her, and she was absolutely thrilled. She absolutely loved it. And I went on a business trip to Los Angeles in 1993, and she wanted this Snow White magic wand that you could only get at the Disney store. And so there's no Disney store in Montreal, so I thought, okay, I'm in LA, I'm going to find a Disney store, and I'm going to get her this magic wand. So I rent a car, I drive out to whatever suburb of LA where there's a Disney store, I find the Snow White magic wand, I buy it, I come back to the hotel. I'm with Terry DeMonte, my old radio partner. I said, Terry, look, I got the Snow White magic wand for Lauren. And he looks at it and he looks at the box and he goes, look at that. And it says on the side of the box, made by Grand Toys, 1700 Route Trans Canadienne, Montreal, Quebec. So I went 3,000 miles to buy a toy that was manufactured about 2 miles from where I live.
That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, no, but these are classic movies. I just don't think they should touch them anymore. There was a lot of there was a controversy. I don't even know if it's a controversy, but because they remade the little what's her name, Ariel there, the little siren,
The mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
And so it's not an animated; it's an actual film there. And because the Little Mermaid was black, it became a whole thing. We went to watch it with my kids. They didn't give a shit. They just, they just had fun. It was an okay movie, but I just don't understand, why do you need to revisit those? Like, can't you make new kids
I will
movies?
say though, what I do appreciate about the Little Mermaid is the jokes that came out of the Little Mermaid.
Oh,
The new one?
The new one. The jokes
I'll let
that
you
people
say
made
it. I'm
The
not
online.
jokes in the movie, you mean?
No, the
No, about
jokes
the movie.
that people made about the
Oh,
movie.
okay.
My favorite one was on TikTok, and basically a guy, he shows a video of an oil spill, and then he goes, "Fuck, man, these oil spills are getting serious. Look what's happening." And then he shows the Little Mermaid.
Stupid. So stupid.
I'm sorry I interrupted with that nonsense.
Listen, if they want to make new movies and put a new spin on it, that's great. But leave the old ones be. Let them still, let those ones still play when and where people want to watch them. You can't cancel the old ones. And, unless if the original was, the seven dwarves are gangbanging Snow White, then I understand. I can understand maybe canceling that and doing a new one, but it's not. It's just a fairy tale about a princess
I don't
who
understand
falls
it.
in
Is
love.
it like originality? Are they lacking something? I mean, why would you need to just go back, revisit, and change? Just do something different. Like it's to me, it's simple.
Well, there's I think that it's a virtue signal in part, and there's people get some kind of a high or a kick or some sort of gratitude out of being angry about something and feeling that they've righted some kind of historical wrong. I think that's got something to do with it. But I think there's more important historical wrongs that we can right than Snow White.
100%.
Yeah.
But it's what you're saying, right? It's this woke movement where you grab something which to me is insignificant and you're just making this big thing out of it. Yeah, the prince is a stalker. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I think woke's going to run its course, though.
Well,
I don't think it's a sustainable.
I think so too.
Ideology.
We've spoken about this many times with Pantelis and Phil. I mean, it's like a pendulum swing, and eventually it's going to come back the other way. Where I hope they're going to realize that these fucking idiots, man, what are they smoking? Let's just get back to reality. I hope it happens. But speaking of culture and of, you sent me an article with this viral song. I don't know if you want to talk about this.
Yeah,
in the US.
can we play the song or will it get flagged?
What's
if we
the
try
song?
To play it?
I don't
What's
know.
it
It's called. It's on YouTube. Rich Men North of Richmond. He's a farmer from Virginia. His name's Oliver Anthony. He lives on a little piece of land with his 3 dogs, and he plays what's called a resonator guitar.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that little sort of metal piece on the body of it.
Oh,
And
I don't know if we'll get taken down by this. Hold on.
West Virginia radio.
If you do put it on, does it affect the whole video or just that segment? I don't know how it works.
I'm just gonna check on Spotify and see if it's on there. Is he signed?
I know he's on iTunes because I downloaded his music off of iTunes.
Rich Men North of Richmond.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's try playing the video. I want to see if it's on. Maybe if we play it on TikTok, it won't get taken down.
In any case, I mean,
It's a song about getting fucked over by the man.
yeah.
And it really, really resonated with a lot of people, and it crossed social and cultural lines. And it was fascinating to see. And he's such a regular Joe. You know, he's a farmer from Virginia.
Yeah.
You know, and certain elements of the political and media establishment are trying to paint him as the new voice of the extreme right.
That is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous because if you've
Oh,
heard,
they called him the voice of the extreme.
yeah,
right?
yeah, it's an anthem for the Rolling Stone magazine, for fuck's sakes, called it an anthem for the extreme right. Rolling Stone magazine, which if Bob Dylan had done this song in the 1960s, it would have been a cause célèbre. And Rolling Stone would have been all over it like a smell. Like, look at Bob Dylan standing up for the working man.
Which he did already. I mean, he has plenty of songs.
Yeah. But because of where we are culturally and where media has gone, mainstream media has gone culturally, this guy is supposed, well, you know, judge for yourself.
Hold on. Wasn't the left always supposed to be fighting the right? Now they're siding. Weren't they supposed to be fighting the rich? Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. The world is upside down now. The left are the establishment now.
Interesting.
And the right are the well, I don't know if they're. I don't think this guy represents left or right, and he says that.
But he
doesn't.
said it himself.
Yeah.
That he considers himself sort of in the middle.
Yeah.
But he's just exposing a reality.
Yeah.
And like you rightfully said, I mean, there are other artists in the history of the U.S. that have taken a political stance, and they've been seen as heroes, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and he's really not even that political. He's just writing a song about, you know, well, the song speaks for itself.
are we going to be taken down, you think? Or
I'm gonna play it very low. Hopefully, don't get a strike.
Why is
I'm gonna play it at this level. I like his guitar.
Yeah. People like you. But it is. Oh, it is.
you can't duplicate this. This comes from the gut, right? This is
Oh, yeah. Know that you do. Your dollar ain't shit. It's taxed to no end. Look at the dogs.
Dogs are enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah, and this song resonated so much. He got 33 million views as of yesterday, 13 days after it was posted on YouTube. He had 33 million views. And what's really interesting is to watch, and there are a bunch of them out on YouTube, reaction videos, montages of people sitting there watching it and reacting to it. And people are crying.
Yeah.
Like they're moved to tears.
Yeah.
That's how much this song has resonated with people.
You know, and here's the thing. I think the reason probably why Rolling Stone took that stance also is because you have politicians in the U.S. that have hailed this song, right, as an anthem of our times, and the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and because he's getting this kind of support from these politicians, automatically you go out and call this guy an extreme right wing. And also, I mean, we're using that term, you know, too frequently. I don't think they understand what extremism
People
really
don't
means.
understand what fascism really means anymore.
Yeah.
You know, Donald Trump is a fascist. No, he's not.
You know, and look, the scare tactics, obviously, but I think we should take it easy a little bit with that because we're going way too far. Mélanie Joly called Poilievre the other day. She was on, I can't remember where, I think she was on 98.5 with on the radio, and she was calling him, you know, far right policies. And what the hell are you talking about, man? I mean, listen to this guy. I'm not saying that I'm endorsing Pierre Poilievre, but the guy's talking about affordable housing, which obviously clearly the government here has an issue with. He's talking about bigger paychecks. He's talking about issues that affect everyone. These aren't far right issues. The guy's not
Hey, wait
saying,
a minute. Hitler talked about affordable housing. He must be far right.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like he's talking about wiping out
No.
a fucking
Exactly.
a minority
Yeah.
or whatever. So I think we should take it easy with the way we use these terms because there's a lot of gullible people out there, especially now with the access to information. If you're a liberal and you're following these politicians and you're getting alerts and notifications on everything they do and everything they say, you're going to adopt the same rhetoric, right? And I know this firsthand because I know a lot of people that are working with Justin Trudeau and even with Melanie Joly, a lot of volunteers, a lot of people that I've worked with also in the past. And immediately, as soon as that news comes out, they adopt it. They're like, oh, no, Poilievre is a far right. Far right. We got to be careful. We can't go down that road. And when you ask them, what's far right about it? Like, what is far right to begin with?
Yeah.
What is it? Are we redefining these terms and are we making them more loose?
Well, you know what? To use one of their own terms, it's a dog whistle, is what it is. It's just a dog whistle. This guy, the weekend after the song came out, I think he was already into double-digit millions of views on YouTube, and he went and played a farmer's market in North Carolina because he had promised the farmer's market he was going to show up. So he's a global sensation, and he shows up at the farmer's market, and he's playing his songs. Jamie Johnson showed up. Jamie Johnson's a huge country star in the U.S. He showed up and sang with him. He's got some other songs. He's a great songwriter.
Well, it shows.
Yeah, he's got a song called "Ain't Got a Dollar," and the chorus is "I ain't got a dollar, but I don't need a dime." And it's a song about gratitude.
Yeah.
I ain't got a dollar, but I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I got my piece of land.
Right.
I got my dogs. I'm good.
Is this the guy that got offered $8 million as well?
Yeah,
And
apparently
refused
he's gotten some huge offers.
To sign up on labels and stuff?
I'm not sure exactly what the offers are. I haven't read up on that part of his story yet, but
You know what's impressive to me? Sorry to interrupt you, but we're living in times where anyone can put up songs.
yeah.
You don't need labels. You don't need any promoters like you needed like a decade or two ago or whatever, whatever traditional method was used. And I find that fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I
find
think
that
that's how
fascinating.
Lil Nas X became a
Yeah.
big star.
Yeah.
What was his song? His hip hop country song.
Yeah, with
Billy Ray Cyrus.
what was it called?
Old
Take my
Town
horse.
Road.
Old
to
Town
the-
Road. Yeah.
Old Town
Old
Road.
Take
Old
my
Town Road.
horse to the Old Town Road.
Yeah. He's not the only one. That other guy that a while ago, I don't know why you guys were looking at his videos, 69 or 6'9" or whatever the hell his name
Tekashi
is.
6'9".
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. But
He
that
also,
guy's a dweeb, though.
yeah, he's a dweeb, but look, he's making loads of money and he has no label either. So it's fascinating to me to the times that we're living in where these tools are available to every
Well,
artist.
just on monetization I don't know how it works, but on monetization for views on YouTube or for downloads on Spotify and iTunes, would he not be making a pretty penny already?
sure, he should.
If he's so well into the
I don't know what the
millions?
formula is, honestly.
No, nor do I.
I don't know.
But I was thinking about that last night. The video is up on a channel called West Virginia. I think it's called West Virginia Radio, WVR, or West Virginia Music, one of the two. And I was thinking to myself, does the monetization go to them because it's on their channel?
It's their channel,
And if
yeah.
it does, if I'm Oliver Anthony, I might go, fellas.
Sorry.
Listen,
A little
fair's
knock-
fair.
little knock on the
fair's
door.
fair. Let's see if we can figure out some kind of an arrangement here.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to have to take my song down.
It's he has 35 million views.
Yeah.
And YouTube pays between $1,200 and $6,000 for every 1 million views. So let's say on average he makes 3,000.
Wait, you said 2.5 to 6,000 per million?
No, $1,200 to $6,000.
Okay.
Per 1 million
Per
views.
million.
Per million. Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a lot to me.
So 3,000 times 35.
So
About 35,000. No, about 35. About $100,000.
Yeah. That's not a lot.
Yeah.
Getting worldwide acclaim, is it?
Actually, no. Yeah, about 100,000 because you add the extra 0 to the 3,000.
105 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just I consulted my trusty
Yeah.
my
But
trusty calculator.
You took an average there. unless he's getting the $6,000 there per million or whatever. I don't know how it works. In any case, I mean, compared to what he was before and to the very little recognition he had, he was probably just doing things for fun.
Yeah.
And from, within a month, everyone all over the world is kind of talking about him and his song. I mean, that's it's huge for him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, because from what I've seen of him online with the videos that he's posted himself, just talking about the experience, he's not a guy who's going to quote unquote sell out. Like, he's not going to take the first smooth talking agent who comes to his door. He's not going to sign.
But
on
he
the
shouldn't.
No, he shouldn't. But he definitely won't. I think what's more important to him than I can tell what's more important to him than money is the artistry, the music, and also the message.
Yeah.
And he just wants people to have better lives. That's what that song's all about.
No, guaranteed. I mean, if I were him, and if he's already getting this sort of recognition from known artists, just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
There's millions of opportunities for collaborations. There's no doubt in my mind that this guy will springboard into much bigger fame, and so no, but it's good. Like, I mean, just in terms of the music itself, I mean, writing stuff like that is just fascinating.
Great songwriter. And when you get a chance, go online, go on YouTube, and look at just Google or YouTube search Oliver Anthony reaction, and look at some of the montages of reactions of people watching the video of that song. It's very moving. It's moving. Like it's like a seminal moment of sorts. You can see he's brought people together, and the powers that be don't like that. They don't like divide and conquer. Isn't just a saying that doesn't have any legs. And I think in many ways we live in divide and conquer times. All times are divide and conquer times, but in particular you see it happening right now with the polarization of our society and culture, which comes largely from here. A lot of it comes from our phones and social media.
Yeah, but I'm trying to wonder, because I mean, the art scene always was kind of the rule breakers, right? I mean, whether it's literature, music, any form of art, and we mentioned Bob Dylan. He's definitely a figure that at certain times wrote controversial things. He took a political stance as well, and I'm curious to know, like back in his days, like in the 70s. Was there this type of reaction?
No, there was not. Partly because reaction is so amplified today because of social media.
All right.
I think that there were, the establishment back in the 60s, any sort of anti-Vietnam War sentiment did not go over well with the establishment, because the establishment was, we got to fight the communists. As General Westmoreland said, if we don't fight the communists in Vietnam, we're going to fight them in Los Angeles. And that was full of shit. He was, it was, but it was part of, that military-industrial complex making its money off of the Vietnam War. And, you could probably make an argument that the Ukraine war is kind of the same thing. Although they haven't sent American troops in there, they sure are sending a shitload of American money that way. But to answer your question, no, Bob Dylan was a rebel and everything like that, but there wasn't this level of debate because there was no social media.
But what are people worried about? I don't see. To me, the fascinating thing about situations like this, and I try to look at things very objectively, try to understand all sides. And when you have a magazine like you said, the Rolling Stone magazine, that paints this guy as a far right, the representative, the voice of the right wing party or group or whatever, just because you have a couple of elected officials that have supported him or that have kind of, endorsed him. What's the, what is the goal? Like, what's the purpose? Like, why take it there instead of just doing what we're doing, right? Just saying, look, this is a beautiful song. Yeah, it depicts a situation. We get it, but is it necessary? I mean, that to me is the fascinating thing. Like we have to take everything and camp it somewhere.
Yeah. Well, it's such a betrayal of Rolling Stones' roots too. That they
But
would
I've
take.
heard many times that they've taken this turn lately.
Yeah, they have.
There's a lot.
They're
of
very
things
woke. Rolling Stones are very woke.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's they've become a little bit of a parody of themselves, but I guess that's part of the evolution of media that we were talking about before. And I don't know where it's going to go from here. I just know that's a great song. It's an uplifting song. It's a spiritual song.
Yeah.
And watching him sing it, I find is moving. And again, and I know I've said this twice already, but I can't say it enough, that watching people react to it is really something else. It really makes you understand the power of music and how good he is at stirring what's inside people. And he's just he's got a video out from the day he went to the farmer's market. He's driving home in his truck and he's got his phone up on the dash and he does a video. And he's just talking about what's happened and how gobsmacked he is by the whole experience and everything. And you can hear his clunky old truck rattling and you can hear that he probably needs a new muffler, and it's amazing. It really is.
He's true. He's a real guy.
He's it. That's it. He's real. He's real people, you know, and it's refreshing to see. And it's gratifying to me to see somebody like that garner so much positive reaction. We need something like that these days, I think.
Mostly positive. Of course, you have...
But overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
At street level, people love him.
Yeah.
They love him.
That's right. Speaking about media, and we spoke about earlier, about the decline and stuff, and you mentioned it again, and I just want to talk about, because, the government here in Quebec announced this pretty significant amount, and we get the whole issue about the French language here in Quebec, and we spoke about this a bit yesterday too, and I told you that I support the effort of protecting the French language. I think we should collectively, but we have to do it respectfully towards the other minorities as well. And there's an article where the government of Quebec is throwing in close to $5 million for the creation of a new TV show. It's a game show basically that will pretty much promote the French language, and it's going to be a game show around the knowledge of the French language, and it's happening on Télé-Québec. And here we're talking about, earlier how this podcast scene is exploding and it's destroying the traditional media, and everyone is seeing this trend. The Premier of Quebec even has a podcast. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that they know the direction it's taking. And here you have close to $5 million, the government of Quebec, giving it to Télé-Québec, like a channel that probably no one has even heard of. Give it to LCN, TVA, Radio-Canada. Well, they would never give it to Radio-Canada, but like to one of those bigger channels, I would understand. But you're giving $5 million to a station that...
Is Télé-Québec a government network?
I don't know. I think it's like a smaller kind of...
I didn't know they
Check
existed until
Télé-Québec.
now. I didn't even know they existed until now.
Well, there you have it. So if it's a government channel, then I guess it would probably make sense. But why would you spend so much money on a channel that nobody watches to promote the French language? I mean, is there no
What's
other...
the name of the show?
What's it
Vacher
called?
Honesty?
It's the show.
It's called Ton Québec, is it?
Ton Québec. No, the show will be called La Langue dans ma poche.
Yeah.
It'll start airing next year.
The language in my pocket.
Yeah.
Or the tongue in my pocket. Hey.
Hello. At work this morning, we played a song that to me, there's two words in French, when you pronounce them in French, to me, that sound like they would make great French swear words. One is the French word for coyote, coyote. Doesn't that sound like a good French swear word?
Yeah.
You're watching the Habs, defenseman coughs the puck up in front of the net, the other team scores, coyote. And the other word is the French pronunciation of maniac, maniac. Doesn't that sound like a good French swear word? Maniac. Coyote.
That's a good one. Oh my God.
I'm going to rewrite the French language. Maybe we can get a TV show.
Yeah.
Words that aren't swear words but sound like they could be.
And we make a dictionary.
Yeah.
Like it's but all this to say that, I don't know, man. I mean, $5 million considering the budget of Quebec is maybe insignificant, but at the same time, I mean, it could be put to much better use. And especially if you want to do that and promote the French language, there has to be a better outlet than on a channel that nobody fucking watches.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe they're filling a quota there somehow. Maybe there's some kind of an arts and or language quota.
There's been an effort.
Maybe there's a fund that they have to spend the money. Well, how about if we do a TV show?
I don't know. I've never heard that before. The government just investing in a TV show. I mean, how desperate are you to make news that, oh, no, we're doing something for the French language. Don't worry about it. We're taking care of it. We're investing in a TV show that may not even last the season.
Do you think it's because the other networks maybe didn't want to pick it up, even for $5 million?
No. I think it's very political. I think it's a nationalistic thing. And again, we're talking about this yesterday, Ted. We're in a phase here in Quebec where there seems to be a shift. Like when I grew up at a time where you were either a federalist or a separatist in Quebec.
Yeah.
And you were in one of those two camps, right? Politically, at least. And since Legault took office in 2018, there's been a shift more towards nationalism.
Right.
So it's not necessarily sovereignty, because even Legault changed the constitution of the party initially, where it was unsure about where they stand on sovereignty, and they changed it right before the 2018 elections to a federalist party. So that was a big deal, right?
So the CAC is officially a federalist party? That surprises me because he's ex-PQ, is he not?
Yeah,
those are his roots.
He was the former finance minister. He's the guy that came up with l'année 1 du Québec, right? Like the year 1 of Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he came out and he clarified his position and said, look, at the time that we're living right now, it's much more beneficial for Quebec to be part of
he's just
Canada.
being practical.
Yeah, of course. It's opportunistic, basically. It's what it is. And it paid off for him, obviously. I mean, look at the majority he has. So there's this whole sentiment about nationalism, and everyone wants to get on that train, right? Everyone is fighting now on who is the most nationalist party, because that's a playing field that every party can play on. I mean, everyone remembers the Bourassa Liberals. They were known as very nationalist party here in Quebec, even though they were federalists. And on that train, you have the rise again of the PQ. They got decimated in the last election. Everyone thought that they were going to completely disappear. And they elected a new leader. He's a young guy, very charismatic, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon. And we've spoken about, we've spoken about him many times here on the podcast. But there's this momentum that the PQ is starting to have, right? There's a by-election that is coming up in a riding called Jean Talon, which is in the Quebec region. We'll see what happens. The PQ is actually tied with the CAQ in the poll, so it's going to be very interesting to see how things develop. And the PQ is taking advantage of this momentum, and they passed a motion right before the end of the last session to bring to declassify an old report that was done from the '95 referendum. It was the rapport Grenier, and it basically looked into possible irregularities about the referendum on the no camp, right? There were
funding irregularities.
Yeah, there were talks because they had established a cap on spending and that sort of thing, and there was a lot of allegations that they went above. So there was this commission that happened, and no one knows what came out of that report. So the PQ asked for that to be declassified. There was a motion that passed unanimously in the National Assembly, and it was the second one because there was another motion that had passed already in '95 back in the day. Nothing had ever happened, and the Director General of the elections here in Quebec is refusing to declassify this because he believes that there's prejudicial elements in these documents. Plus, it's such a huge endeavor that it's going to take so much time to literally go through everything to make sure that no one is affected, maybe to black out certain things. I don't know exactly what the reason is. And now the PQ is saying that once the new session starts in Quebec, they're going to try and pass a law to force the Director General of Elections to actually submit this report.
So who made the report?
It was commissioned at the time. It was called le rapport Grenier,
and it was made in '95 at post referendum.
It was made post referendum, and it was finalized in 2007. But nobody knows what happened there. I mean, it's classified, so they've been requesting the documents to get declassified ever since. I don't know what the problem is. The thing now with what's happening now is that a lot of people are saying, the PQ, with the momentum that they have, they're just taking advantage of a situation like this to ignite the flame again of sovereign.
Because I'm thinking to myself, what difference does it make? Something that happened, what is that now? 28 years ago?
Yeah, it won't make a difference. Absolutely won't make a difference. But let's say they declassified and they realized that, during
they
this
got fucked
commission,
over
they
in some
realized
way?
that,
Yeah.
there was more money that was
Yeah.
spent. Well, the PQ can use that,
Yeah.
It's like, look, we got cheated on. And it's just going to fan the flames again,
Right.
and it's just going to spring them more into the momentum that they already seem to have. So there is something happening. There's something cooking. I'm just leaving it out there. People can judge on their own. But, to the argument a couple years ago that separatism is long gone and we're no longer there, and Legault kept saying it, that, we're not there anymore. We're a federalist party.
Yeah.
Quebec's interests are in a united Canada kind of thing. There's this happening now, right? So I don't know how this is, what reaction it's going to have and what effect it's going to have in the next elections. My guess is that the PQ is going to do much, much better than people had
I was really
anticipated.
fascinated with what you were telling me about that yesterday, about this charismatic new leader, and that separatism, the separatist sentiment seems to be revitalized. And you guys would know this more than me because I live on the West Island, right? So I don't, I'm not exposed a lot to Quebecois culture outside of whatever there is on the West Island. If I want to meet a French person, I got to go to St. Anne de Bellevue kind of thing,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that bad, but
Yeah.
it's, I'm not living in that French Quebec milieu. And anytime I have been in that milieu, it never strikes me that sentiment is on the rise again. Now, mind you, I don't have political conversations with people.
Well, see, I'm on the complete opposite of that spectrum, where I do have conversations,
Yeah.
but it's mostly with people that are engaged politically.
Right.
So I don't know what the middle ground is.
Yeah.
One would assume that the middle ground is reflected in the results that we got in the election. So if Legault made a record majority here in Quebec, almost record. I mean, he almost reached Bourassa's record of 103 MNAs. It probably indicates that the people are agreeing with his approach, right, in order to elect him. So,
Which is a middle of the road approach.
Right.
Vis-a-vis sovereignty.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like, this point in time right now is going to be very interesting to see how it's going to maybe fluctuate. I don't know. Maybe they had lost hope in the PQ because there was no sense of leadership or anything like that. And with this young guy, maybe he'll be able to reignite that. I don't know. But that's why I'm saying it's going to be interesting in the next couple of years, or at least until the next election, to see how this party develops and kind of...
Well, you were talking about the report that they want to have declassified. Do you think that for a referendum in Quebec to ever be successful, is a grievance a necessary element to that? Like, can they win a referendum without a grievance?
I don't know. That's a very interesting question. First of all, the idea of another referendum to me is ludicrous. There's already been two. I think the message is pretty clear. And in order for, and the other question,
But it's their raison d'etre.
of course, it's the Article 1 of the PQ,
Yeah.
right? So, and I mean, if they're getting the political support, then there is grounds for them to say that our program should go ahead with another referendum, or we have the support of the people. They haven't had it in like 10 years. But now, is it going to change? We'll see.
Yeah.
The other question is, let's say we do a referendum. Is 51% enough? Would you be comfortable saying,
in a
'cause
democracy, I say yes. I say
Really?
Yeah.
because isn't there a significant portion that doesn't want it? So what are you going to do? You're going to, I mean, we understand that it's impossible to please everyone, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. You're never going to get 100%. There's always going to be a fraction. But what is that acceptable? What do you call it? What's that line that tells you we have more than enough
Yeah.
to do it? Because
I
in my
understand.
opinion, even if you get 60-40,
Yeah.
can you really neglect that 40%? I mean, it's pretty significant.
Yeah,
I mean, you won
I understand that,
numerically.
I understand that,
democratically.
but that's making up rules as you go along. Whereas 51%, or what do they call it, 50% plus one, like that's pretty cut and dried, and that's the way democracy works.
It is, but I think for something as big as this, you can't just neglect the other
Well, then
side. There has to be like some sort of like
You
a
have to
two-thirds kind
you
of
have
thing.
to enshrine it in law,
Yeah.
I think, and what a shit show that would be, trying to get a law drafted to define what constitutes
It'll never
a
pass.
successful referendum.
It'll never pass. But in my mind, I mean, you have to go through those steps. I get it. That, look, we won. It's 51%. We're good. Or even 50.1, whatever. As long as you get it. Because, I mean, it was so close in 95, right? It was like, what, 49 point
Yeah, it
something
was
over
really
50 point
close.
something.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that for such a significant portion of the population that doesn't want it, you just, you know.
How old
toss-
were you in 95 in the referendum?
I was 14.
Okay.
I was in high school. I remember
were
that
you
one.
politically engaged?
I wasn't.
No, eh?
But I there were members of my family, and obviously the community was really, really engaged. I remember at that time there was the Hellenic Congress here in Quebec, which was very active, and they had done this joint. I can't remember what they called it, like a task force or some shit like that they called it, and it was the Greek Congress. It was the Greek community, the Italians and the Jews. They fucking mobilized like animals.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Parizeau's comments came out. They weren't random. The guy knew.
You mean the money and ethnic votes?
Yeah, exactly.
Comment?
Yeah, yeah.
I got the impression watching it that night. I just thought he said that, and I went, he's fucking hammered.
100% he was hammered.
Yeah.
There's no politician in his right mind that would come out publicly and state something like that, which it was hurtful.
Well, he was drunk and he was bitter.
Oh, yeah.
He was bitter
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the moment.
Yeah.
And probably that was probably amplified by the fact that it was so close.
Yeah.
They just missed.
Yeah. Plus, if there even at that point in time there were maybe indications that the other side was cheating or whatever, it hurts. I get that. I get it.
That night, I recall that there were rumblings that the yes side was cheating.
Oh, okay.
I remember watching Jean Lapierre. He was on a panel with somebody, and the anchor said we're getting reports of irregularities in the returns in certain ridings, and he was. I remember Jean Lapierre, God rest his soul, being quite taken aback by the whole thing. And I don't remember the exact circumstance. I just remember his reaction. His reaction was like, "What? Really?" It was a fascinating time. And I think things were even more bitter in the aftermath for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember there was a pretty deep divide and a lot of animosity between Federalists and Separatists in Quebec because it was so close.
Well,
Interesting times for sure.
It affected completely the context, the political context here in Quebec, right? You had Jean Charest that came from the federal here to Quebec, and then you had Lucien Bouchard. There was a lot of mobilization. Quebec's politics took a really interesting turn. Anyway.
Do you think that young buddy who leads the PQ now, Plamondon?
Yeah, PSPP.
PSPP, that's right, yeah. When is the next election going to be? How long?
The last one was last year, so that was what, 22
okay,
plus
then it's
4,
gonna be a while.
26.
Yeah, not for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in a campaign, I assume the media would press him on. Do you plan to call it? If you get elected, will you call a referendum?
Oh, but he said he is. It's
he has, eh?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. His mission is to reignite that.
Okay.
To go back to the roots of the party.
And what's his background? Where is he from?
He's a lawyer. He's
okay.
a lawyer. I think he's from Montreal.
Yeah.
He got elected out of a riding in the East End of Montreal.
How old a guy is he?
He must be in his late 30s, I think.
They need that because even in 95, it was all the old dinosaurs of the separatist movement that were.
I like him. I mean, I'm not a separatist, but from a political angle, like I said, I look at things objectively.
Yeah, you can like the.
He's a really fascinating
You don't
individual.
have to be on the same page as somebody
really
ideologically
talented guy.
to respect their political chops.
A really talented guy, the same way that I thought Lucien Bouchard was fucking talented. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his wife was hot too.
I don't remember his wife.
I do.
Yeah. Let's move on on a lighter note, and we'll end the podcast on that. You had a bright idea to talk a little bit about the TV shows that we grew up watching.
Well, listen, the ones I grew up watching are different than you guys because I'm 20-something years older than you, and I'm about 74 years older than Poseidon. But the intro to this show reminded me of the old Barney Miller intro because there's a skyline and kind of a funky guitar lick, right?
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what we have as the intro to this show.
Do you have it, Poseidon?
Sorry?
The show, the
The old Barney Miller theme.
Bernie Miller.
Barney, not Bernie.
Barney.
Yeah. Bernie Miller. Bernie Miller's a tailor in Côte St. Luc. Barney Miller was a TV show.
I found it.
Barney.
Yeah.
Just a second.
There are interesting similarities. I agree with you with that little funky beat.
Yeah, and with at the very beginning with the with the skyline. I mean, then they cut to the actors, but when I saw the intro to our show, I thought of this right away. I thought, fuck, I'm going to be on.
This show was what in the 70s?
70s into the early 80s, but 70s mainly. Yeah. I thought to myself, I'm going to be on the Barney Miller show.
So typical, eh? The font.
Listen to the little bass line there, and then you get the wacka wacka guitar coming up.
Oh yeah.
That's a little bit like our intro,
Yeah.
eh? Yeah.
I see the similarity. Well, I hear it actually.
Yeah.
So it was like a police series.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a comedy.
Okay.
And it was set entirely in the squad room.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was another show with similar music, and I also thought of it when I heard our theme, called Sanford and Son, which was about an old black dude and his son who ran a junkyard.
Yeah.
What's it
in
called?
L.A. Sanford and Son. Sanford, S-A-N-F-O-R-D, and Son.
And Son.
And it has a really
it's the
nice
first option. Oh no.
It had a really nice funky theme to it as well.
Theme song. Right there.
There you go.
This also was in the 70s?
Yeah,
First one?
second one.
Second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is really funny.
Oh yeah.
Old Red Fox.
This one sounds a little more goofy though.
Yeah, well, listen to this riff. Right here, coming up. Little harmonica. Red Fox, the old guy there, he was a stand-up comedian. He probably goes all the way back to vaudeville. He was so fucking dirty. He was so dirty.
Like, what do you mean, like
blue? His humor was blue. Like he's
okay.
yeah.
I thought you meant
if you can probably find old Red Fox.
I thought you meant something else.
No. You can probably find old Red Fox stand-up comedy routines. I'm sure you can find them somewhere on YouTube.
It's interesting that they gave him a show though on TV in the 70s after. Yeah.
Well, he was a big star. He was a big comedy star. And the other one I picked, never mind it because it's not funky like those two. It's just it was my favorite TV theme in the 70s when I was a kid was Hawaii Five-0, which they brought back and used the same theme. And it's great horn arrangements. Great horn arrangements. Yeah.
I remember. I don't remember watching it, but I do remember that theme song playing on TV probably late night while I was asleep.
Yeah.
No, I grew up obviously, different generation. But aside from the cartoons that we used to watch, I was a Dennis the Menace kid, Ninja Turtles. But we also used to watch the Muppet Show, which was much older, right? And it carried into the 80s. But that was later. I think it was on a Thursday or Friday night. But we would stay and watch that. The big thing in our house was MacGyver.
Oh yeah.
MacGyver was an amazing thing. We were fascinated about how many things this guy could do with a paperclip and a Swiss Army knife.
Whenever I play the Air Supply song "Making Love Out of Nothing at All" on my show, I always say that's MacGyver's song. He's making love out of nothing at all. He's got a rubber band and a popsicle stick. And a couple of peanuts, and he's making love out of that.
Like blowing up cities. There was a Knight Rider when we were growing
Yeah,
up.
sure. Yeah.
That was
a nice car.
Yeah, yeah. That was and Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. That's politically incorrect now, though.
It is.
Yeah. Dukes of Hazzard is. There's a blues artist named Kenny Wayne Shepherd who he got a nomination for, I think it was a blues, whatever the blues version of the Grammys or the Country Music Awards is. They took away his nomination because his car collection included the General Lee.
Right.
Yeah, it's got the Confederate flag.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
top,
for sure.
and that's racist. So you can't win an award because you drive a car with a Confederate flag.
Well, the Confederate flag. Yeah.
Okay.
But what crazy times though, right? Like a hit TV show.
Yeah.
with a Confederate
Yeah.
flag.
I don't know. Instead of buying into that, I think people really need to just go, fuck off.
It's just a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, relax.
The other show that was huge in our house was Perfect Strangers. I don't know if you remember that. It was a comedy.
Yeah, I remember the name.
With Balki that came from Mypos or whatever the fuck it was. It was some parody of some Greek stuff.
Oh, yeah?
It was fun. It was a lot more physical, like kind of slapsticky.
Yeah.
And then I remember watching The Wonder Years. It was
a great show. God, that was a good show. That
After the
was
cartoons, it was the Wonder Years.
So well written and well acted.
So good.
Yeah.
And the theme song was amazing too, right? The Joe Cocker.
That was very relatable for me because I would have been the same age at the time in which the series was set as Fred Savage's character.
Yeah.
Like, late 60s, he was 8 or 9 or 10 years old. That's right in my wheelhouse, yeah.
I think that was my first crush there. What's her name? Wendy?
No. Bunny, Bibby, Lippy. What was her name? It was a funny kind of a name.
The girl. What was the girl's name?
I got to look it up now.
Poseidon, the girl's name in Wonder Years?
Wonder Years.
Why did I think it was Wendy?
It's a comedy series.
Just put Wonder Years.
Wonder Years cast.
What the fuck was her
I'm
name?
going to find it. Whoever finds it first, Poseidon knows the other guy $500.
Chat. Let's see the chat.
Yeah, somebody in the chat will know.
There's Gwendolyn. Is that no? Olivia
Gwynny?
Dabo.
Was it
No,
Gwynny?
but not the actor's
Not the
name.
actress,
The
but
character.
Karen Arnold. I'm looking at the cast right now.
The girl.
Well, there's multiple girls.
Yeah.
Gwendolyn
The pretty one.
Yeah, Gwendolyn doesn't sound right, but they called her Gwynny, I guess. Then I just know it was a what they called her.
Becky
was,
Slater.
No.
I'm saying the characters' names.
Danica McKellar. Is that her name? The chat says Danica. I thought it was Wendy.
Winnie. It was Winnie.
It was Winnie.
It was Winnie.
Okay,
I'm
Winnie.
looking at the wrong show, probably.
Fucking guy. Winnie.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, Gwenda. I said the actress's
Yeah,
name.
so
actually.
her name was
Whoops.
Gwendolyn, but they called her Winnie.
Winnie. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I had a huge crush on that girl. And then I remember Cheers also. But I just didn't understand. I was a kid when Cheers was on.
Yeah,
so
Cheers
I
was a great
But
show.
I love the theme song, Cheers. Dun, dun, you gotta go where everybody knows your name. What did you grow up watching, Poseidon? Other than
Dragon Ball Z.
Debbie Does Dallas, except for that.
On the Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, yeah, that was
a good show. Yeah.
I loved Malcolm in the Middle. It was hilarious. A bit of The Simpsons, a bit of Family Guy.
Do you remember who the dad was in Malcolm in the Middle?
Of course. It's what's it? Heisenberg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
same
yes.
guy.
Great
It's
actor.
incredible to see how the career this guy ended up
Yeah.
having, because he was
Yeah.
like an extra on Seinfeld too. Remember, he was on a couple episodes.
That's right,
He played
yeah.
the dentist, or he played a couple
Yeah.
roles on Seinfeld.
What else did I grow up watching? Because the thing is, I was right before. I was right when the internet started getting popular. Like when I was 5 years old, my neighbor upstairs had dial-up internet, and then right about when I became 10 or 11, because I was 5 years old, they had dial-up. When I became 10, around 10 years old, we got internet for the first time. No, we got a computer. So I discovered video games on computers, basically. And
It's not what I would have discovered at that age.
no,
I'm
but
telling you.
hold on.
I'm telling you, if the computer had come of age when I was like 13 years old, I wouldn't be here today because I would have masturbated myself to death.
Those pictures downloaded.
well, here's the thing.
Come on, just a little bit more.
My mother. My mother couldn't afford a computer, so we got one from this community center, and I started playing video games. And then one time, what happened was my father had recorded a porno after a movie.
Uh-oh.
You know when you record a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, the
And
VHS.
the VHS.
So you play it. It was like Dennis the Menace, and then it fuzzes, and then you just see a guy ramming.
So
a girl.
basically, it was Under Siege too. I've talked about this numerous times.
Under Siege, what a movie!
No, Under Siege, the first one, or it was the first one.
Is that a
It was
Steven Seagal?
yeah. Where
And then-
somehow he was like a former Navy SEAL
Yeah.
working as a cook. Who comes up with these stories?
And then
Cookie knows 48 ways to kill you, man. Don't fuck around. Even if you don't like it, tell him it was good.
And then there was what was it? Oh, after the movie finished, the credits were playing, but I didn't press pause. So my mother called me and my friends to the kitchen to eat dinner, and then there was like a commotion in the living room. She's like, "What is that?" And I went to the living room and it was hardcore ebony porn playing. I was like, "Yo, what the fuck is this?" And
So
then,
where did he record it from?
I don't know, some channel on TV, my dad or something. And then after I told my friend, and my friend was older than me by like 2 years, and he had internet. And he was like, "You think that's crazy? Check this out." And he showed me all kinds of porn. And then the computer I had I begged my mother for internet after that, of course. And then I got the blue screen of death on my computer.
You're right about the picture, though, eh?
You can hear your modem fucking thinking. All right, guys, 11:30. Play us out, Poseidon. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is the new chapter of the morning show with the legendary Ted Bird.
Yeah.
We hope you had fun. I certainly enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to this new phase in the morning show. Do us a favor, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. You can follow everything that Pantelis does on patreon.com/Pantelis, the entire back catalog and some other exclusive content as well. You can follow Poseidon on all social media platforms, the Backstage Podcast, and Politiquement Parlant for me. And for Ted, if you still listen to the radio, you can check him out, 106.7. And you can obviously please check out the Standing By Terry and Ted podcast, which is amazing. Legends
On this
of
very
the
channel.
yeah, right here
With that very producer.
this guy
Yes.
right here. But thankfully for you guys, he talks less.
No, that's okay. He's always welcome to talk. We welcome his contributions.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. We'll see you all next week. Ciao.